Hello and welcome back to Retro Asylum. Long-term listeners of our podcast and viewers of this channel will know that I'm particularly fond of the Vectrex. In fact, despite not owning one during the 80s, I've got to say it is my most prized retro possession. That's probably because it can't really be emulated like other systems due to that unique vector screen. But one thing that has always worried me, apart from the thing blowing up as I switch it on, is the longevity of the joypad. I'm very lucky in that this one works extremely well and is in pretty good condition. All the buttons work, and most importantly of all, the analog stick does work. But my 6-year-old son plays on this system quite often, and I'm worried that he's going to get a bit too rough with it and break it. And as the system was only on sale for 2 years, finding a spare joypad is rather expensive these days, as they are very rare. Thankfully, some good people out there have been making their own joypads, and one of those is called the Radpad by Oliver Radford. Now this, I think, is an extremely well designed pad. It's very ergonomic compared to the original, and as you can see, it does use the MB design styling. If we put both pads here, you can see it really does use that same kind of style and fits right in. The only bad thing, of course, is that it doesn't fit into the console like the original does, but there's no way it was going to do that considering it's a lot smaller. The great thing about this pad though is it's also got an analog stick, which a lot of the other joypads that are made for the system lack. Also, if you take note of the height of this, you've got some range on this, so it's very nice to use. You can get some real precise movement on this. And although there's only a couple of games, I believe, that use the analog controls, it's very important, for me at least, because I love Hyper Chase, which is a racing game on the Vectrex. And you can't play it with digital controls, it has to have an analog stick. The pad itself is extremely well made, but I'm going to let you in on one thing. It is expensive. It's £100 to buy, but as you can see, these are, well, you'd think these are coming from a factory. It really is well designed. The only thing that does worry me is the lead on it. It's straight, unlike the telephone style cord of the original. Anyway, let's get it plugged into the system and see if it makes Hyper Chase any easier to play. Right, I've drawn the curtains and changed the settings on the camera to try and get some smoother gameplay. So the one thing about the Vectrex is trying to, oh look at that, I died straight away, trying to capture it on camera is a nightmare. It's probably coming out as a flickery mess, but to the naked eye this system is unrivaled, I think, graphically. Apart from stuff in the arcades that was vectors, like Star Wars, etc. Right, what I'm noticing, first of all, is it is really a lot more precise with the analog control. Does it make the game any easier? No, not really, because I'm not very good at it. But that's my excuse anyway. But yeah, it's definitely a lot more precise. Ah. It's a funny game this. The camera movement does put you off somewhat, but very stylistic. Anyway, let's try and get the joypad in there. Anyway, despite not making Hyper Chase any easier, I still really recommend this joypad. Yes, it is £100, which is quite expensive, but you've got to remember this isn't being made at a factory. This is being made by Oliver. He makes each piece. I should imagine it's quite time consuming and a lot of work has gone into the design. Oh, if I press the right button. So yes, highly recommended. If you do want to get one of these, you'll have to search for Oliver Radpad on Facebook. He hasn't actually got a website, but I'll put a link down below pointing you to the Vectrex fan page on Facebook where you can order these. Got to say that the Vectrex homebrew community, you know, not just the games but hardware and add-ons and overlays, it's really cool. Alright guys, if you want one of these, link below. Definitely worth it. Until next time, keep it retro.